You're welcome back. This is Newsfile, and just a little correction earlier. I said $6 million, $10, $3 million, $6 million. No, it's $3 million, 3.6, 10, $9 million, really. And that error that someone is seeking forgiveness, and I can hear in the voices of many Ghanaians that no, there shall not be forgiveness for that. Now, before we even get to the main issues that we are going to discuss, we'll just spend let's say the first 5 minutes or so to say some prayer for the people, the French people, and what they are going through this morning. So start with you. First of all, let me introduce my guest. I was proceeding thinking that I already done that. I haven't. Abdul Malik Kubako. He is editor-in-chief of the New Crusading Guide newspaper. He's a regular panelist here on the show. Rodaling Imorayana is a leading member of the Convention People's Party, CPP. Abraham Amaliba is lawyer and with the NDC's legal team and is an aspiring parliamentary candidate. Kweku Ajuman Menu is MP, Doma Central, and Chairman, Public Accounts Committee of Parliament. We hope he will help us deal with the corruption issues that will feature prominently on the show today. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Good. So I start with you. What do you make of what is happening right now, the terror? And we are just learning that ISIS is claiming responsibility.
Good morning, Ghana. Our sympathies, first of all, to the French people. It's really sad that we should wake up this morning to hear such disgusting news. The major question that everyone keeps asking is why? So should a country that has an open border policy, suffer such devastating news and without any discrimination? Because it was like it just went off and we don't even know the nationalities of those who died. It's not just French nationals, it cuts across. So for me this morning, I think it's time for us to sit back and start thinking and strategizing as to how we can deal with this ISIS situation, because it can happen to us where we are sitting right now, since we've had a few of our people joining them. 1 or 2 or 3 people are supposed to have joined. So I guess we need to all be up and doing, and once again, our sympathies to the French government and the people of France and all other nationals who lost their lives.
Abraham.
Yes.
I'm sure you've been watching footages on CNN or other international wires and how it's been looking very terrible.
Sure. When you consider the fact that our president just left France, I think Thursday night, and this thing happened, it's a clear indication that humanity must come together to fight these heartless people. Again, I think yesterday I heard David Cameron rather announce that they had in a drone killed the leader of ISIS, and just to wake up thinking that maybe they have been dealt a heavy blow, just to wake up to hear that this has happened. It means that ISIS is not an individual. ISIS is an ideology, and the better we agree to that and begin to tackle it, it will be good for the world. But my heart goes to those who lost their loved ones.
Mr. Emmanuel.
Let us express sympathies and condolences to the French people, or those who live in Paris. I've always thought that ISIS was a bit far away from us, the distance. But this has demonstrated clearly that it can be anywhere. And I just wouldn't know what the rest of the world will be doing to try to arrest this situation. It's been happening in major cities. It has happened in Africa.
In France, presently they've shut their borders, and I understand that this has not happened since World War II.
Right, which is quite unfortunate. It's affecting everybody. So the world must come together and fight ISIS or ISIL, whatever they call it, with a very serious sort of challenge to us. I believe efforts from the United Nations, from the developed world, from the G, whatever it is, hasn't been quite adequate. You know, if you see Russia resisting in some resolutions, some countries abstaining and things like that, it's a clear indication that the world hasn't targeted collectively to fight this canker. And I believe this is the time for everybody on the globe to be worried, to look at how this violence can be stopped and stopped forever. I mean, this can degenerate into other issues that I don't think would be good. We need to beef up security across everywhere, irrespective of where you are. I don't think they have a clear target of where they want to hit. It can be anywhere, and we must also be careful to see how we can also beef up our security against some of these things. When it happens this way, a lot of things get disrupted. And I believe France will not be the only country that will be so much affected. We may have Ghanaian citizens even amongst those who are dead.
Yeah.
If not Ghanaians, Africans close to us, especially the Francophonie in West Africa, Togo, Cote d'Ivoire. We have relatives in these countries as well.
Yeah, it's been disturbing if you have
Mali
friends there also.
definitely,
throughout
yes.
the night, you're trying to check, where they
there,
were, particularly that they located various places. It didn't happen at one point.
It's quite unfortunate. It's quite unfortunate.
Yes. Kweku.
What else can I add? I associate myself with what has been said here. It only means that perhaps the world should wake up. It's not easy to battle this kind of, terrorism. It's not easy at all. Indiscriminate violence being perpetrated by, I would say, a bunch of lunatics. It's difficult. It's not a conventional type of war. And so it's really difficult. It needs the world to come together. The risks of saying, my emphasis is still on them. Those who perpetrate this kind of indiscriminate violence, mass murder. Even some of their own friends, relatives, and things could be victims of that particular act. Sometimes some of them try to bring religion in. Some of the victims themselves come from the religion they claim to be part of, So it's really difficult. And it doesn't make sense. It's mindless.
Right. For those of you who have the benefit of the television pictures, you can see how the rescuers were going about assembling all the bodies, putting them in ambulances. Very terrifying, horrifying situation there. And I'm joined on the line by a Ghanaian who is right there, locked up in his room. As you know, that it's an emergency situation. A curfew has been declared, and people are unable to move out. Well, if they want to, will they move out in the first place? Nanaya Preko, good morning, and thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning, Samson.
Okay, so tell me, where exactly are you?
I am somewhere called Port de Pantin. Paris is surrounded by what they call in French ports, which means gates. So each of such ports have some names. They are just around a circle around Paris like that, and I'm around one of them at the moment. That's where I stay anytime I'm in France. I'm in Paris.
Okay.
Port de Pantin, yeah.
Did you happen to hear any of the explosions at all?
Incidentally, I didn't get to hear any of the explosions, but then it happened just at the time I had entered my house, and I had put on my TV. I was listening to, actually watching the news, France 24, and then there was a breaking news item. And then we started hearing. So just they were told there had been an attack, and they couldn't give out any figures. And about a minute later, they started counting numbers, and we started counting throughout the night like that. We started hearing sirens all over, police, ambulances all over. So obviously you couldn't sleep again. You had to stay awake and follow events. Right.
The CNN so far has reported about 153, but the official figures, as the president is telling us, is that it's 120. Is that correct?
Yes, in France, that is what we have. In France, we have 120, around That's how they put it, around 120. So it isn't very far from 120 people there at the moment.
And you can't move out of your house today?
No, you can move. You can move out of your house. Out of the bus. I was preparing to talk to you. As you told me, you indicated you wanted to talk to me. I wanted to have a feel of what the outside looked like so that I could give you a fair picture.
Okay.
So I stepped out a little. Now, you could see buses moving, transportation moving, all right. But then a bus that stops and you see maybe 20 to 30 people getting out at a time. This time round, you see the bus stopping and you have only about 2 to 3 people getting out. People aren't coming out of their houses. And you don't hear movement of vehicles in the streets. You don't see people up and down. And a few people you would see are probably those who have gathered and they are talking about what has happened. Some had signals, because just about 4 days ago, we heard in the media, we had the news that an attack on a French naval base had been foiled by the security agencies. So people were happy that they were on top of the game,
Right.
And so we knew things like that were going on, and they were trying to handle them.
Can I say that you live in fear now?
Absolutely, something, because for instance, where I live, I share my apartment with my neighbor. What happened in the night, a son about 24, 25-year-old man had gone out in the evening and he hadn't come out. So I was waiting for the old lady to wake up this morning, and then I'll go tell her if she could check up on the son. So as early as about 6:37, I went and knocked on her door. She woke up. I told her, "Can you send a text message to the gentleman, find out if he's okay?" And she sent the text. The boy wasn't responding, and we were all, abrasive, waiting to hear what he would say. And eventually, about an hour later, he sent us a text that he was okay. They got at home with his friends before the whole thing started. Now, just walk down the street. Where I live, down the ground floor is occupied by a comedian, a very popular French comedian. And he saw me. He was telling me his friends were at Bataclan, the cinema hall that they took hostage. His friends were there, and fortunately for him, almost all of them had gone home safely. But he was scared till he started hearing from them one after the other. So basically, something, you don't know where the next one may come from, because if you look at their transportation system here, people easily converge, people easily gather. You get a metro that stops and about 300 people to 400 people are coming out at a time. And the nature this attack took, it's something different. We are hearing of suicide bombers.
Yeah, because we are told that out of the 8 attackers, seven of them sort of blew themselves up.
Yeah. So imagine something. Imagine them getting into buses and metros and trains and things like that. Actually, when I got to a bus station around my area, that is what people were talking about. The few who were there,
okay.
That is basically what they were talking about. On my walk back home, there is a popular market on Saturday mornings. I passed by. You could see a few people who had come to display their wares, and people weren't on the market buying. Most people were indoors.
Okay.
And a quick one, just as yesterday, where I live, there are some Jewish schools around, about 2 blocks away from where I live, 2 Jewish schools. And based on the dynamics of what is going on, we have security men, military men stationed in front of these schools almost all the time when the students are there. On Fridays, they don't come to school because of Sabbath. And so the military men don't come. But they said I went to a grocery shop. On my way back, when I was passing by, when I was going there, they weren't there. The military men weren't there. But on my way back, I saw their vehicles stationed in front of the school. And this time around, they weren't standing. They weren't positioned like their normal way of standing and their rifles on their chest all the time. But they were visibly combing through vehicles.
Okay.
in front of the school.
Okay.
So
Obviously,
I was
this
like,
means that we're going to have a lot of tightened security
so
everywhere
what
at the
was happening
airports.
around 2 in the afternoon. So I asked myself, what is happening today?
Okay.
Then I walked by, got home, opened my computer. Then I saw a news item that in the afternoon, a Liverpool player who plays for the French, German national team, Emre Can, had been evacuated from his hotel because of a bomb scare. So putting those two situations together, I realized, no, something is going on somewhere.
All right.
Only for me to hear what has happened in the night.
Nana, we wish you well. Stay safe.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Thank you very much for your time, Nana. Yao Preko speaking to us there and telling us, giving us firsthand what he sees going on right now in Paris. And as you read the news, you hear that at least 120 people are said to have been slaughtered and another 200 injured, of which 80 seriously. Police, in a series of coordinated attacks last night, a gunman reportedly shouted, "It's for Syria," and "Allahu Akbar," the Arabic for God is great, before slaughtering around 100 music fans at a concert hall, and then several other locations were also attacked. Thank you very much. Bad news to wake up to, but let's all pray with our friends.